Hey guys, it's Duranasaur, and this is going to be the final vanilla dungeon speedrun analysis video that I do. This final video was from the last Classic Dungeon Speed event competition that I hosted, and it is a lower Blackrock Spire run. So these are very fast runs, so I'm actually going to show 3 of them. So including the fastest run, also the second fastest, and then the third run was an incomplete, but it was by a guild that I think you may all have heard of. So I'll jump into these pretty quick. This is, again, these are super fast runs. All these group comps are very different. So this is actually a ton of fun. I loved this event. It was, I think, one of maybe my favorite one, just because of the different comps, the different strategies, but also the players that we had involved. So this first run, as you may already be able to see, was run by Gusy. So I'll get this run started. So some quick things. This LBRS, the rules were that you had to kill the gemstone bosses. So Omok, Voon, and Wormthalak. Outside of that, the timer started when you entered this door or when you aggroed mobs. So that's how the timings for this all worked. You're going to see Gusy here. They're actually going to accidentally pull early because the first mine suit that they put out gets resisted. So what ends up happening here is super interesting because a couple of the rogues just sprint in at this point, but the 2 druids don't have a way to get back into stealth. So the clock is running. The 2 druids actually have to zone out to get out of combat so that they can stealth, so then they can zone back in. And actually get their stealths off, because they're going to need to be stealthed going in here. So some chaos that happens at the start of this run. It's not going to be the last thing that goes wrong. You'll also see, so down in the right side, we actually see a perspective from one of the rogues. And what you're going to see is something go terribly, terribly wrong here. The rogue somehow gets pulled out of stealth and ends up doing this jump across and failing the jump across. So you'll see down in that bottom right, the rogue doesn't make it across. They end up down on the lower level, and now they have no idea what to do. So they are trapped down here on this bottom level. They have aggroed mobs, so they're stuck in combat. I think at this point, it's a tough situation because I think they already had to pop Vanish because of that scuffed intro pull, so that kind of comes back to bite them here. Because otherwise, this rogue probably would be able to pop Vanish and might be able to stealth their way back up. But as it is, they're just stuck down here waiting for something terrible to happen. So while they are doing this, you'll see again on the main screen, these 2 druids are together. They are stealthing and they are heading straight towards Voon. And you'll see here in that bottom right, all the mobs are getting pulled to that rogue. That rogue is going to end up eating it. And we actually changed perspectives to the other rogue. So the other rogue is stealthing and is on their way to Wormthalak. So that first rogue was supposed to go to Omok, but they didn't make the jump. They fell down, they died. The 2 druids are now here at Voon, getting ready to engage Voon, and that third rogue, or that second rogue, the third group member, the third split off, is on their way to Wormthalak. So these 2 druids are both about to pump Voon right here. We didn't know what spec they were until they got here, and we realized these are both boomkins. We have a double boomkin druid group that show up here to fight Voon. They're dropping target dummies, they're shooting laser beams, they are full boom chicken, just like blasting Voon down here. While, unfortunately, down in the bottom right, we see that rogue is still dead, not sure what to do. It's one of those things, it's such a long run back that by the time they got back, the run was likely going to be over one way or another. So they're chilling while the rest of their team members are doing stuff. We can now see in the bottom right, that other rogue is engaging Wormthalak. So that rogue is there soloing Wormthalak, popping all their CDs, while these druids finish off Voon here. About to blast him down. He's now dead. So the 2 druids now, they're probably starting to communicate and realize, okay, our rogue who we sent to Omok died, so we need to get up to Omok. So these 2 druids, they both get stealth, they start heading that way. That rogue that is soloing Wormthalak is not even down to half health. Wormthalak is almost dead. They're about to finish him off, so the rogue finishes Wormthalak, is able to get the re-stealth going, and that rogue, same thing as those druids now, they're sort of in fix-it mode because their Omok killer was slain. So this rogue is also going to start heading towards Omok, see if they can salvage this run. The druids are on their way up. There's sort of a race right now between these two different groups. Sorry, who can get there quicker. So Riley, this rogue from Gusy, stealthing in here, getting here first. And you're going to see they're going to run in here, zero hesitation, engaging Omok and 2 mobs right away. The druids aren't even in the room yet. And this rogue is just going to say, let's go for it. I think they're going to pop a blind, maybe. They might do like a sap blind and engage right away. Looks like just a sap. And they're already going to start barreling into Omok, already taking a ton of damage. But they timed this out super well. So you're going to see the rogue's health continue to get lower and lower. But again, on the main screen, these druids are almost there. So the druids actually show up kind of at a perfect time. They're able to pop out of stealth, get some heals on the rogue, and then help blast. And then Omok goes down shortly after. So this run ends up being still a sub 5-minute run, still a very good run. It's crazy to think what this would have been if that rogue had been able to get over here solo. Because I think that they had obviously practiced this. They knew that that one rogue was going to be able to come over here and solo it. If they had killed it around the same time that Voon died, around the same time that Wormthalak died, this would have been an insane time. I think it would have easily been sub 4 minutes and probably would have won the competition overall. So Gusy having a very, very strong run, even though one of their main members, one of, their Omok person, their Omok Slayer went down. It was still a very impressive run, still super cool to see. This was the first true stealth run in all the competitions that I did, so I loved that one. This next one is another guild that you guys may be familiar with. This run is coming from NOTA, None of the Above. So a very, I think, well-known and respected speedrunning guild with raids. They were able to sign up and come and participate in this LBRS. You'll actually see from the perspective, this warrior does not have full world buffs. So I think they, at this point, still had one more Nax speedrun to do before pre-patch came out. So I think we were able to talk to them after the run. I think one of their members was able to fully pop world buffs because they weren't in the speedrun roster, but they were still confident that they could win this competition, even without having full world buffs. So they come out swinging right away. All of them, I think, have pre-popped their slow falls. They're going to slam through here. Unlike the stealth groups that did their jump across sort of down below here to the right, these guys are opting to go up to the left where the quest giver is for the Uber's key. They're going to run up here. This spot drops combat anyway, but what you're going to see is they didn't want to wait. They didn't want to wait the like 8 to 10 seconds. So they all get up here and they all petri just to save 8 extra seconds. They pop their Skull of Impending Doom with the slow fall. Jump across here. They're going to engage this one pack here, immediately just destroy them, even without world buffs, still pumping the NOTA way. Once they get this pack down, we're going to see they're all marked with different symbols here, and I believe the triangle is going to split off and go into that doorway and head towards Voon, while the other 3 warriors and the priest are going to head towards Omok. So they're running across here. You can see down here they have their nifty stopwatch and the Gnomish cloaking device ready to go. The 3 warriors here we see pop it, and it's hard to tell, but on the top left here, something's going on with the priest. Unfortunately, bad things are going on with the priest. So the priest actually goes down right here. During the run, we weren't sure if this was intentional or not, and very quickly we realized that it was not intentional. So you're going to see a warrior go down here. The priest was able to soulstone and res, but not in time to get up here. And they actually end up having extra mobs pull. Those extra mobs lead to this whole group wiping. What ended up happening here, because we were able to talk to them in between the runs, the priest had the correct trinkets on, but when they hit their macro to pop Nifty and Invis at the same time, they were macroed to be used in the opposite trinket slots. So it ended up swapping his Gnomish and his nifty stopwatch, even just from one slot to the other, and it reset the cooldowns on each of them. So as he's running towards mobs to try to stealth past, his trinkets get swapped, they get put on cooldown, and he ends up pulling a bunch of extra mobs. So that's what happened there. That's why they end up wiping here. You're going to see pretty upset about the macro. And I think we see here also in a second, though, that the solo warrior who went down to kill Voon is successful. So it would have been really cool to see what they were able to do here. They were super confident. They were really excited. They were awesome sports to come in and try this out. This was the first time they were able to compete in one of these dungeon speedrun competitions. I feel so bad that the trinkets just didn't cooperate. So that was the NOTA run. I think they would have had Omok down, Omok and Voon both down around the like 2-minute 30-second mark, which would have given them, in order to win it, that would have still given them like around 2 minutes to get to Wormthalak and to kill Wormthalak. So it might have been possible. I think they might have been able to pull it off. It just goes to show you that sometimes things go wrong, just like with raid speedruns. It can happen in the dungeon speedruns. So that's the second run, and this is the fourth and final run. This was also the final run of the competition. So this was sort of a, let's see if a group can execute properly and actually beat Goosy's scuffed run. Because even though Gusy had a bad run, it was still a very competitive time to beat. It was still far and away the fastest time on the leaderboard. So this run, this group was called Wolfpack. They're actually a guild. They're a group of players from my server, Stalag, which is not necessarily known. They are not known for being top speedrunners in the world. Not on the same caliber as Gusy or NOTA. But here they are. They're pumping away. They have an interesting comp here. So you're going to see in the bottom right the two mages. They opted to go down below, and they are using safe spots to reset aggro, while the two warriors and the priest are going up top, again, where that Uber's key mob is at. Once they get up there, they're going to hang out for a little bit, drop combat, even though we saw NOTA utilize the Flask of Petrification to drop combat up here. Not quite the same level of sweaty from these guys. So they're going to wait up here until aggro drops, and then they're going to pop their, I believe, speed pots or whatever other speed consumes they have to make this jump across and engage the same pack over here. Meanwhile, the mages, they are running through lower. You can see them down in the bottom right. All they're doing is running past mobs. They've got frost armor up. They're using frost novas. They are just running and blinking and moving forward. We'll see here up in a little bit, they have reset spots planned. Just sheeping random stuff just to get ahead of it that much faster. Their goal here is to just run ahead, frost nova, slow, do everything they need to do until they can get to safe spots and then reset all the aggro, and then they're able to continue on forward. Meanwhile, the warrior priest group heading to Voon first. So just killing things as they go as well. They're not really utilizing, I don't think we ever see this group utilize any invis pots or invis trinkets. They're just using mind soothes to skip what packs they can, and otherwise they are cleaving through. So picking up this group, dragging them into Voon. Double warrior priest with full world buffs. This is going to be no problem whatsoever. The mages have reset aggro at this point from one of the big pulls from all that spider room trash, everything. So now they are moving up here. They're just waiting for patrols, trying to stay out of combat at this point before they do, I think, their last push towards Wormthalak. That warrior priest group, they're able to get Voon down, no problem. I think they get stuck in combat here. They have to come back, kill these totems. But once they do that, they are going to start heading up towards Omok. So again, just doing everything that they can, just cleaving through, just moving super fast with this 3-man cleave death squad, having to pull an extra trash mob here. Those mages are actually using some invis pots at this point, just able to skip this last bit of trash before they kind of come to the final stretch heading towards Wormthalak. I think, yeah, they make it through this area here. So they only end up having to pull, there's this ogre and this berserker which they Frost Nova and jump through, and then there's this one other pack at the sort of like start of Warmthalax's room. Frost Novaing, running up here, and getting to a reset spot right up here. The Warrior Priest group using their own invis at this point to run into Warmthalax's room. Almost getting stuck right there. I think almost pulling some extra mobs, but they're okay. Oh, they do actually get an extra mob here. So, but it should be fine. Again, 2 warriors fully world buff with a priest. No problem. They are cleaving him down. The double mages, though, they are, from this vantage point, even though it's a reset spot, they do so much damage, they actually blow up a caster mob in this pack right before Warmthalax. The reason they do that is because now they're going to utilize this spot. This is sort of like jumping over a fence back and forth. They're messing with mob pathing here. So they aggro that trash pack, and then they come down to the side, so they are all running away. And Warmthalax melts here. These 2 fire mages absolutely destroy him. I think they get an ignite up and everything. They wreck him. Omak is dead. The Warrior Priest group are just dancing by the fire while these 2 mages, they finish Warmthalax. They blast him down. The clock reads 4:30. We actually determined that it was a 4-minute and 29-second run. So without any stealthies, without being a full melee cleave, with this different composition, 2 mages, 2 warriors, and a priest, utilizing some interesting tactics. They both did utilize invis. They split their group up. They did a bunch of really interesting things, but I think they sort of came out of nowhere, right? We had, for a group from it's like the hometown, the little hometown team winning like the state championship, right? The Stalag team came out of nowhere. They were able to beat Gusy. They were able to beat NOTA and win the final Classic Dungeon Speedrun event of WoW Classic and finish it off with a 4-minute and 29-second lower Blackrock Spire gemstone boss farm. So come Fresh Classic, if you're looking to farm gemstones as fast as you can, you might not be able to do all this, because you don't have the full world buffs, you don't have the gear, but there are a lot of really cool skips that I think we learned from each of these different runs, and maybe that's something that people utilize come Fresh Classic. I hope so. I hope that's like one of my main things with all these runs that we've done, all these competitions, is there's so many cool tips and tricks that the average person can learn and use. So that's the last one of these. Gosh, I love this run. It was a ton of fun. This competition in general, it was great. That is LBRS. That was the last, like I said, the last one that I was able to do. But I am super excited for what we're going to do in TBC. All of this is building up to TBC. And the main thing that I'm doing in TBC is dungeoncleave.com. So dungeoncleave.com is it's a website, it's an organization, it's a community of people, and our focus is PvE content in TBC. So we're going to be doing heroic dungeon speedruns, we're going to be doing raid speedruns, we're going to have leaderboards, we're going to have competitions, analysis, we're going to have weekly breakdowns. It's all things TBC PvE. We are going to do everything we can to make it feel like a legitimate esport community within a game that we love, which I know for some people, it sounds like we're turning a game into something that it isn't, that it's like going to be too competitive. But our thought is that, everyone loves playing this game. We all love playing this game, whether it's super casually or super competitively. And I think that it's a ton of fun to see how far people can push it, and whether you want to participate in that or not, it's fun to watch. It's fun to at least see what's possible. And so we are inviting everyone, whether you are going to be, right alongside there, sweating with us, doing these runs. Awesome. If you're just someone who, maybe you're an observer, you like watching the NBA, but you're not planning on trying out for an NBA team anytime soon. Like, you are welcome. We want you there. We want you a part of it, talking to us. So check out the website. It is going to be linked below. We also have a Discord where we're constantly asking the community for feedback on rules, on event ideas, on all that stuff. So come check all that stuff out. You'll also see all my other socials and everything down below. If you like this video, hit the like button. If you like this content and stuff, check out the rest of the stuff on my channel. Maybe hit subscribe. I appreciate you guys. But yeah, that'll do it for this and for this kind of series that I've done on classic vanilla dungeon speedrun analysis. So thank you guys, and as always, happy hunting.